Uh, Good evening, my dear friends out there. So, I'm here this evening to talk about the issue on Capitol Hill in Liberia and with the issue of the Supreme Court rendering a clear understanding of the decision taken in the case of Speaker Kofa uh, and the so-called majority group, also known as hotel dwellers and money launderers. You know, so I heard the controversies this evening on Spawn TV, who is doing very very well in informing, you know, in, in informing Liberians of what's going on with our nation. We have a very huge, comprehensive uh, news media that spread all over the country and the entire world, listening to Spoon every day and getting useful information. I just want to congratulate the founder of Spoon and those that are working, friends and others who are working with Spoon TV, you know, making sure that they inform our people day after day. I ask the blessing of God upon you guys, and keep doing your work. You know, always remember that what I'm suffering from, people who say the truth, you know, and our people are not used to people saying the truth to them. They used to people misleading them. They want followers, but some of us, we want authentic followers, people who believe in the truth and reality that we prevail rather than misleading them. That's what I believe in. I prefer far good person following me than 1 million people who will end me up in the gutter one of these days. So I just want to thank God for everything. But this is where our country has reached. So for some of our age group and the era in which we was born and grew up in Liberia, seeing when Liberia was the Liberia then, where we had parenting, we it was just about social political issues. Nobody was thinking about killing until Satan hit hard, you know, uh, the hidden blood that was wasting our country came in the public. And here we are today. Uh, the, the killing of Torah broke down, completely extinguished the educational system. Everybody was just surviving somewhere or other. But in the midst of that, there was people who were learning. There were kids who their parents had money to send them to good schools in the midst of a horrible educational system. And those children were privileged to go to school. So the issue with Kofa and those in the house is clear. The whole world can see that. When the man speaks, the way he speaks, and with that compassionate voice and and educational, value of when he speaks, versus people who are trying to maintain power that they cannot control, that they don't work for, they never prepare themselves, they never went to school for that. They misled our indigenous people to vote them into office for them to come on Capitol Hill to abuse them rather than finding opportunity for them. You know, they went and build all kind of mischief stuff in the constituency to make people, oh, I build hospital, I build the hospital, went inside with paracetamol, fake drugs. I went like I saw the drugs. I confronted all of them who were selling it. The only place I didn't confirm it, but the one that was passing around with bucket on the head. Because they were selling for the famous, they'll go to get in the drug, they can't sell it, and they get a profit and get back to them. Those fake drugs that will come in with no labor on them. That the kind of drugs out people just swallowing, dying, and swallowing up in the country and dying. And they're sitting right there. They cannot even make one single law to protect the young children in the street, the women, the issue of rapes, all the things, the children. They haven't make one law because they are all of them, they are almost maybe part of the rapist circle. That's why they are not even, they don't even pay attention to the children in the street, they beat them. taking millions of dollars and riding big vehicles and living, moving into hotels, you know, all the kind of thing. You know, darkness and light cannot survive in the same place. No, darkness and light cannot live in the same place. Versus Supreme Court and COFA. The whole country were crying being Supreme Court is sure make it clear because you know we got to deal with Liberia based on the literacy status. So if you know if you bringing any academic issue out in the public, in the media, you have to break it down into in a simpler term, into the simple English, like what Open San Justin tried to do, you know, even though he not really master it, but he's so smart and educated. So when you want to try to do, it's difficult for him to speak, you know, local English. It's not easy for him because of the academic standard. Open San Justin, you know. So you know, but it's understandable. That's like so you got everything. So it was good that it took them time. They win. They have to argue or they have to go over the law in order to kind of give that kind of clarity. It was the same thing, but they have to do the clarity. After the clarity, look at that. The whole Capitol Hill go amok. Fake speaker refusing because he looking at the car, the kind of vehicle, whatever, almost $100,000 car. You don't want to lose it. Ambiguism, greediness. You don't have the mind. You don't qualify to do what then you want it. You know. So it's very disheartening, you know. And somebody had to fix that speech that the president made. And they indicted, they gave him a speech to read and indicted himself into it. Because if you listen to the content of the speech, it did not say anything. They're still hanging things up. The place for Liberia, Liberia is not for experimental country. Liberia, you have to be able to say the right thing and interpret it to the lower term for the lowest people to understand because you got a high rate of people who can understand. Some of the children that read and write, they can't understand what UN did this in 2003. It's still affecting the country. They will read the thing, but they able to analyze it. It's not because of it was not their fault. It's because of the kind of system that they have inherited. The young generation of the war front over there. What? So we got when you're speaking today, you got to bring the English down. If you say this for the professional people, then you break it down for the lower people. That's how you got to treat Liberia situation now. That's what you got to do. So the Supreme Court did that. Yet and still, people still fighting because somebody interpreting the law on the other side. That's how law works. Law can say one thing, say another thing, but they got a conclusion and it will say this. So wherever the law ends with, that's the interpretation of the law. Because the law is something that argues issues, social, political issues. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to thank you for this evening and just tune in for the next video. Have a blessed